Hey, how's it going? So, just fired up the heater, see if we can get the temperature up in here. Hopefully, can shoot a little lacquer tonight. It's just a tad too cold at the moment. But I had a question from a subscriber who's looking to start building a guitar of his own and looking for some tips. What can I say? Measure twice, cut once. Behave yourself. Of course I'm kidding. Depending on the tools you have, if you have some woodworking tools, if you want to cut out your own bodies, you're going to need like, what do they call it, like a saber saw, you know. Let me find it. Yeah, something like this. This is what I used when I first made my first body, long before I bought my bandsaw. And what I did is I found a bolt-on Epiphone acoustic neck from like a mid-70s to early 80s Epiphone FT, I can't remember what the hell it was, but the guitar was called a Texan. And the problem with those guitars was they had a block under here. And what would happen is as they would age, the glue would let loose and the neck would pull forward and it would collapse the body in here. But the necks are wonderful. Just a really nice neck. And what I decided to do was take one of those necks and make a body. At the time I was in an acoustic duo and we used solid body acoustic guitars. So decided to make this one out of a piece of mahogany, and it's fully chambered up and around all the way in through here, and it's got a piezo in it, and yeah, it's just mahogany with a flame spalted maple top. I made this back probably in somewhere around 2006, 2008. And all I can say is just get yourself a good set of plans, and then you know, cut those plans out either on MDF or I use I think that's polycarbonate. I got a bunch of it for nothing. So I put it to good use. And just take your time. And the words good enough should never enter your mind. If you look at something and say good enough, keep going, because good enough is never good enough, because your end project is only going to look as good as the amount of effort you put into it. If you don't have tools for cutting out, you know, wood and stuff like that, you could always build something like this. I found the body on eBay. You know, I bought the neck on eBay, and then, you know, you buy the parts and you put it together a little at a time. And again, you get out what you put into it, you know. I actually love this guitar. That is an actual Fender Srv Pit Guard. It's probably the only piece of American-made Fender on this. Most of this is an Asian-made body, and the bridge is made in Mexico. The neck was an early 90s Squier, back when Squiers were actually rivaling the American-made guitars before they moved them overseas. Or, well, maybe they were overseas, but just before they changed where they had them built, because they were just really well built at that time. And I think it was probably costing Fender some money, because people figured out that the early Squiers were so good that that people were buying them instead of spending, you know, an extra $500 on the American-made ones. But, you know, it's only going to be as good as you put into it. These are actual Fender-made. Are they Clusen? Let's find out. Can't remember. I don't have my glasses on. Yeah, they're nice. This would be the easiest way to start. You know, you start with a body, and you know, you make sure you measure your neck pocket and you buy your neck to fit it correctly, and then you just go from there. You measure everything, make sure you're getting the right parts that's going to fit your body, and you know, the more attention you pay to detail, even if you're not making, you know, if you didn't make the neck or you didn't make the body, you still need to pay attention to detail, stuff like the neck pocket size and the width of the neck, and you know, stuff like that, and you get a good guitar out of it. And then eventually you'll get to a point where, you know, you get some tools, and you can cut out your own body. You can route your own neck pockets, and you'll make templates for stuff like this, and you can make a really quality guitar, and you know, something you could be proud of when you're done. But like I said to begin with, joking around, measure twice, cut once. That's the major rule here, you know. If you're looking to start building something like this directly from scratch, you're going to have to get you know, the tools you're going to need to do it. Get a router so you can take care of your pockets and stuff. And like I said before, pay attention to detail. You were really vague on what you wanted to know. It was basically any tips. Well, the only tips I could say is take your time. Sand, 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 and sand. Make sure everything is ready for the next step, but also think of your next step while you're doing the step before, because if you forget something, you're gonna have to go back and fix it. On something like this, when I was routing out the chambers, I had to take into consideration that I had a jack back here, and I had to run the wire up through to go to the controls, which were here, and connect to the piezo. Now, there's the battery box for it, but everything else is inside the guitar under the cap. So while I was routing the cavity out, thinking forward to how you're going to wire it later, because if you forget that and you glue the top on, you're screwed. You know, because you know it is a direct shot if you want to drill from here to here. But where are you going to find like a 24-inch to 30-inch drill bit to do that? You know, and then you got to feed it through and then solder everything together. So I actually had this thing wired before I even glued the top on. When I glued the top on, I had wires coming out here, and I had a wire coming out through a hole in the top here, and the wires sticking out here too. So, you know, you always got to think ahead, because if you get stuck, and like, you know, if you didn't do that like I did, you'd end up with a beautiful body, and then you got to figure out how the hell to run the wires through it. Other than that, I don't know what to tell you. I've always been one to look 2 steps ahead of the job I'm doing at the moment. So I always cover my ass when doing something. But what you want to do, first of all, the very first thing, is get yourself some good plans. I have some plans. Right in here that I've been keeping. I have them saved on my computer in a PDF. This is one I've been working on. I don't know if you can see that, but that is an Ovation Deacon right there. I've been working on those plans off and on for about a year. Let's see what else I got in here. Now I have all these plans saved on my computer. I have probably 20, 30 different plans, and you can find them on the internet. And when you do, you load them on a thumb drive and then take them to like Office Max or one of those kind of places, and then you have them printed out for you. It costs about $7, and I always get more than one printed. Here is Les Paul plants. And what you do is you take those, and then you cut them out, and then use some spray adhesive and lay them on some PDF, and then cut them out, and then you've got your templates, and then you just go from there. What else we got here? This one is a Tele Neck. Kind of light, it's hard to see that one. This one here, kind of incomplete. I cut the headstock portion of this one. This one is for a Les Paul Custom. Another Tele Neck there. So I would say start with a pre-made body. Find something on eBay, or depending on the quality you want. You know, go to Stu Mac or go to places that sell quality guitar bodies. But if you want to start right from scratch, I put a couple of guitars together before I actually tackled making a neck, because to me, making the neck was the most intimidating part of the build. And I actually got started out with this building thing. This was the first body I made. But before I did that, I picked up a Epiphone gold top on eBay with a broken neck, and I re-necked it with a bulldog neck. And it came out really well, and I no longer have it. I ended up trading it for 3 sets of custom wound pickups. Kind of wish I still had it, but you know what? I got pickups out of it, and I got pretty much twice as much worth of pickups that I actually put into it. Yeah. Find a good set of plans. Make your templates. Don't rush with your templates. Make sure everything is sanded like it was an actual guitar that you're making, because everything that you use to route a template, you know, you use the template to route with, every imperfection in your template is going to be transferred to your body wood. Spend some time making your templates. Once you make your templates and they're perfect the way you want them, use that template as a master template, and then use that to route another template with, and then use the second one for your body. This way you don't have to go back, you know, and fix screw-ups later. I would suggest, if you're going to build from scratch and you've never done it before, the wood you want to use some cheaper wood. The first scratch build I ever made, I made the body out of poplar, and it was not expensive. The guitar came out pretty well. I don't know if you've seen, if you looked back in my older videos, there's a dark burst Les Paul with white plastics. That was the first scratch build that I ever made, and I tell you, I was nervous as hell with the neck. Now necks don't bother me. I realized just how, am I going to say easy? Were they easy to build? No, they're not easy to build, but they were not as difficult as I thought. I ended up giving that guitar to my friend Dean, who now lives in South Carolina. He moved down there. I mean, I grew up with this kid. We were in Cub Scouts together when we were little kids, you know. Spent as much time at his house as I did at my own house. We were bandmates, party mates, drinking buddies. He owned a house for a while, and I was his roommate. I mean, I've just known this guy forever. And when he decided to move down south, you know, I just wanted to give him this guitar. So I can't show it to you, but if you look back in my videos, you'll see there's a dark burst Les Paul, and that's the first one I did. Other than that, you know, you're going to need a few simple tools. You may need a fretting hammer so you can tap your frets in, files so you can file your frets. Definitely a router with a handful of good router bits. A small belt sander. Now the rigid oscillating belt sander is about $129. Not that expensive for what it is, and I gotta tell you, it's probably the most used tool in my shop, and I've had it for, I would say, 4 or 5 years, and it's never given me any trouble. I use it for everything, from sanding bodies down to sanding the macabre knobs that I make. You know, put the tap in the drill and go up against it while it's running. You know, as far as other tools, some sort of buffer should you want to buff it out when you finish it. You don't have to go with something like that I got there. I ended up picking that up long after I built a few guitars. But what I did use before that, with real good success with it, it's just one of these. It's an auto buffer, and you know, you do your wet sanding, and then you use this with some auto swirl remover, and it just gives you a beautiful finish when you're done. You just got to make sure everything's leveled out really nice. I gotta warn you, once you build your first guitar, you're going to be freaking hooked, and you're going to want to, halfway through your first guitar, you're going to be like, oh, I want to build another one. And you'll be working on the next one. And the first few I did, they didn't come out perfect, but you know what? They came out good. And you're not going to be a perfect wood master overnight. Before I started building guitars, the only thing I have ever built out of wood, I made a bookshelf when I was in middle school, and I built a deck off the back of my house. That's it as far as woodworking goes. When I started building guitars, the only thing I owned was a skill saw and a power miter box that I used for my deck. And then as I went along building guitars, I acquired tools. I got a router, not an expensive one. I got a drill press, which I got right there. You know, a small bench top, more than good enough to hog out cavities before you router them. You know, small Ryobi bandsaw. I've cut 2-inch thick maple on that, very slowly, but I've cut on that. Mahogany is very easy to cut, so I cut that like it was butter. Further on down the line, I ended up picking up a table saw, you know, and I had a lot of other hand tools already because I had worked as a mechanic in the past. So some of the tools, you know, you could work with woodworking, but most of them that I had from back in the day, I didn't, which, you know, I sold them, got some money for it, and I ended up buying a PA system, you know, but I picked up that joiner right there from another Luthier buddy of mine. I ended up talking to him, and he brought it with him to a guitar show in my area, and I went down, saw him, checked out his stuff, nice stuff, and tossed some cash at him and threw it in my truck and took it home. And As you go along, you'll acquire tools, and every time you build a guitar, you're gonna hook, line, and sinker, man, because you're gonna want to build another one, and you're gonna want to build another one, and you're gonna want to build another one, you know, and that's just the way it is. I have 6 guitars right here. I've got 4 on the bench and 2 back there, and I built 5 of them. This one I built from parts. This one I built the body and I bought the neck, so it's like half and half. These 2 I built from scratch. The one in the front back there I built from scratch, and the one in the back is a Les Paul custom that I made out of parts. So if you've been working on your own guitars, you know, if you're a player, you know, you work on your own guitars. You try to figure out how to set them up, you know, and shit like that. It just comes down to take your time, do your best work, make sure things are square, make sure things are straight. When you're sanding, make sure things are flat. It's all about taking your time and paying attention to details. I don't know if I can express that enough. Pay attention to details. The more care you take building it, the better it's going to look when you're done. That's about all I can give you for a tip. I mean, you were very vague. Any tips on someone who wants to build? Could make an hour-long video about how to go step by step by step, but that's not what you're asking for. You just want to know some tips. So take your time. Never go at it and never leave something saying that's good enough. It's not good enough if that's what you're saying. Always strive to do your best job. You'll be much more satisfied when you're done. And when you're done, I mean, I even still do it. I get to a point when I finish the guitar and I'm like, I cannot believe that I made this, you know? It's a very gratifying feeling. Anyway, the heater's on. It's freezing out here. Yeah, 32, freezing. Hopefully I keep this heater going for, I don't know, 3-4 hours. It should get up here, hopefully in touching 70. And I got my order in from Re-Ranch. So we put a couple of coats of clear lacquer over this, and then do a little leveling out, and then we're going to hit it with some cherry red lacquer. I'm looking forward to finishing the 2 Troublemaker guitars. Anyway, that's about all I can relay to you. So just do it. Like Nike says, just do it. Is that Nike? Or is that Home Depot? No, Home Depot is let's do this. Let's do this. Jump in, both feet. Anyway, behave yourself, and we'll catch you next time. Peace.